All right. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. I trust you had a great night. So we're hopping right into a great book that we are reviewing, and it is called The Full Fee Agent. And here is why I believe this book is for anybody, right? It's not just if you're in real estate. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, I believe this is why this book and this read is going to be powerful for your business. And yet, if you're like me and have not actually owned the book, then we're going to go over some of the tips and the steps that I think are really powerful. So we talked about tactical empathy and some laws about human nature. For me, I believe one of the things that I think I can do is change the way that people think. And the reality is that we can't. And a lot of times, especially lately, we've been tying our value into what we offer, usually for free. And I think that this is a reframe that we must do, especially if our goal is to make money, right? The last article was about controlling income and stacking dollars. Well, we can't stack dollars if we don't collect them. And so, one, we want to get rid of the idea that our value is tied to the work we do for free. And so, here are some things about human nature that came up in this book, The Full Fee Agent. It's by Chris Voss, and I think Steve Shull is the name. And here are seven things that I want you to remember. Takeaways from this book. Number one, people's needs are never often practical. Human beings make decisions emotionally. And so when we're looking to appeal to any person logically on why they should invest in a thing or do a thing, understand that we're probably talking ourselves out of a deal because they already know logically why they should do something. They already have plenty of websites and checklists and people that they follow on social media telling them why they should do a thing. What they don't have is the emotional reason on why they should make a different choice or decision. Number two, there is no such thing as a fully open mind. Most minds are made up before the opportunity or the first try. So think about that. Does that apply to you? Do you already know? Did you already decide before you opened up this video that I'm going to enjoy whatever's about to come out this because your mind was already open to that? Did you stop the video? Have you already stopped the video? You wouldn't see this if you have. However, your mind is already 70% sure on what they're going to do with that information. And so most minds are made up before the opportunity or the first try. And we're going to get into why you must figure out whether you're the favorite or the fool later. Yeah, keep that in mind. Number three, humans are hardwired to be negative. So when you label the emotion, it allows it to dissipate. Can you relate to that? Is that showing up in your world, in your own world? Where does your mind naturally go? To what's negative or what's positive, the silver lining or the buyer beware? Humans are hardwired. That means unless you are actively changing the way that you think about information when it's presented in front of you, you're going to default to what you're decoded to do. Number four, fear of loss is a primary motivator for human beings. So most of us don't do things because of what we'll gain. We do things because of what we will lose if we don't make a choice. If we don't do something, we may lose this opportunity. We may lose our job. We may lose our home. We may lose. It's pain versus pleasure. Most of us are driven by pain more than we are driven by the opportunity of pleasure. Number five, compromise is never equal. It's a downward spiral. And so those are the notes. And yeah, what do you think about that? Compromise is never equal. It's often a downward spiral, right? Like just think about the compromise and understand like why is compromise so important? It's that people will die over their autonomy. Human nature is that they want to be in the driver's seat and choose. The hard cry for human nature is freedom. And so when we are looking to make any decision in our life, the number one thing that we're clinging onto is our choice, our voice, and our freedom to choose. And yet, because of that, it often robs us from being able to pursue the pleasure that we want. Number seven, vision drives decisions. So whatever it is that you think is going to happen is generally how they're going to make a decision. Now, in real estate, I see this all the time. People fear the economy. They think that the economy is going to take. They're concerned about that man in their office. And therefore, all of their decisions come from a fear-based position of what they could stand to lose if they were to move forward. And so understand this. We cannot persuade people logically. However, we do have to move forward, right? So what does that look like? So then some of the things that we also talked about today is number one, planting trust seeds. How do you get in relationship with people so that way you're not convincing them, right? I think we have to get out of the idea of being salespeople. We're not salespeople. We help people make their own decisions, right? And a few things, and I'm going to close it with this, a few things that stood out. Number one, the more value you give away for free, the less valuable you are. So assign a value to every skill and talent that you have. You have to believe in that value before anyone else will. Number two, people trust a straight shooter. Sales is not about outlining the pros and the benefits and the wins and here's why this is great. It's helping them kind of focus on the loss, right? What will happen if you don't, right? Even if we're selling something, I use the example of Facebook Marketplace. What item do you trust more? The seller that says like, hey, this furniture, it's got a crack, it's a scratch, this happened, the kid jumped off the bed, that's why this little mark is here. Or do you trust the person that's only showing you the angles that perfectly position the item so that way you can't see what's really going on? People trust a straight shooter. So number one, call out the emotions. If it seems like something's negative, call it negative. Shoot straight and recognize that you cannot logically convince anyone to do anything. And I trust that helps. I'll see you guys soon, you guys. Take